Ladies, let me ask you something. Have you ever given your all to a man? Your love, your loyalty, your patience, solely to watch him walk away as if you never mattered? Have you ever cried in silence, wondering if he even remembers you, wondering if he'll ever realize what he lost? If you've ever felt that pain, if you've ever carried that question in your heart, tonight I want to give you the truth. Not a possibility, not a maybe, but a 100% guarantee that the man who walked away will one day return, and not just return, but beg to be with you again. There comes a time when walking away is not a loss, but the most powerful step you can ever take. When you step back, you ignite something deep inside him that he never expected, the feeling of emptiness without you. It's not your words that will bring him back. It's your silence, it's your glow. It's the unshakable confidence that says, I know my worth, and I will not settle for less. When you stop chasing, he starts searching. When you stop talking, your absence becomes louder than any words you could ever speak. And when you choose yourself, he is forced to recognize just how valuable you truly are. The truth is, memories cannot be erased. He will replay your laughter, your kindness, and the energy you carried into his life. And in that realization, he will see that no one else can replace what you brought. Yes, it takes patience. Yes, it takes strength, but the moment will come. He will return, not with pride, not with ego, but with humility. He will beg to be part of your world again because your silence has shown him the truth. You are not easily replaced. So stand firm, hold your head high, and never forget this 100% guaranteed. He will return and plead for the place he once had in your life. Distance is not weakness. Distance is not rejection. Distance is power. When you step back, you create a vacuum that he cannot ignore. Suddenly, the voice that once reassured him is gone. The presence that once gave him comfort is missing. And what happens to a man when what he took for granted disappears? He starts to crave it. He starts to miss it. He starts to realize the true weight of your absence. See, when you are always available, always giving, always there, he feels secure, too secure. He begins to think he has all the time in the world, that no matter what he does, you'll still be waiting. But the moment you pull back, that false sense of security shatters. He feels the silence, he feels the gap, and his mind begins to chase after the very thing he once neglected. Distance flips the script. Instead of you chasing him, now it's his heart chasing after you. Instead of you proving your worth, now he feels the need to prove himself worthy of you again. Distance creates mystery, and mystery is magnetic. It draws him in without you lifting a finger. When you walk away with quiet strength, he begins to wonder, what is she thinking? Who is she with? Has she moved on? Does she even care anymore? And those questions don't just linger in his mind for a moment. They echo, they grow louder, and they keep him awake at night. That is the power of distance. It does what no argument, no explanation, no pleading could ever do. It makes him realize that losing you isn't just losing a person. It's losing peace, losing comfort, losing something rare that cannot be replaced. Self-worth is the invisible crown you wear, the quiet force that commands respect without a single word. When a woman knows her value, she does not beg, she does not chase, and she does not settle for crumbs. She walks with a presence that says, if you cannot see my worth, that is your loss. And this is what shakes him to his core. Because deep down, every man knows when he is in the presence of someone rare. He may not admit it at first, he may ignore it, he may even take it for granted. But the moment you choose yourself over him, the moment you draw a line and refuse to be treated as an option, his world tilts. Self-worth is magnetic. It pulls him back in ways your words never could. When he sees you carrying yourself with dignity, when he sees you growing without him, when he realizes that you are not begging for his attention, he begins to question himself. Did I lose the one who truly mattered? Did I walk away from someone who knew her value when I didn't? And here's the truth. Men respect what they cannot control. When you place yourself on the pedestal of your own life, he feels the gap between your strength and his mistakes. Your self-worth becomes the mirror that forces him to face his own weaknesses. Think about it. When you hold your head high, when you shine without his validation, he begins to see what he missed, and regret is born. Regret that he didn't protect what was precious. Regret that he didn't treat you the way you deserved. Regret that his pride made him blind. That is the power of self-worth. It is unshakable, untouchable, undeniable. It does not scream, it does not beg, it simply is. And when you embody it, he cannot ignore it. He feels it in his silence. He feels it in his loneliness. And eventually, he will be drawn back to the very strength that he once overlooked. Sometimes, silence is louder than any words you could ever speak. Silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. It is the echo that lingers in his mind when your voice is no longer there to comfort, to explain, or to reassure him. When you stop calling, when you stop texting, when you stop checking in, he feels it. At first, he may act like he doesn't notice, like your absence doesn't matter. But behind closed doors, in the quiet of his own thoughts, he begins to feel the shift. The rhythm of his days changes because your presence once filled the spaces he never even realized were dependent on you. Words can be argued with, but silence cannot be debated. It cannot be interrupted. It leaves him no choice but to confront the truth on his own, and that truth is this: without you, something is missing. Silence makes him reflect. It forces him to remember the little things, your laugh, your touch, the way you made him feel understood. And the longer your silence stretches, the louder it becomes in his heart. He begins to wonder, why isn't she calling? Why isn't she chasing? Has she moved on? Is there someone else? Those questions swirl in his mind until they turn into a storm of regret. Here's the beauty of silence. It shifts the power. The one who speaks less often holds the strongest position. The one who can walk away without explanation leaves the deepest mark. And when you choose silence, you are not showing weakness. You are showing mastery. You are showing him that you do not need to fight for your worth, because your worth speaks for itself. And the silence begins to work on him slowly, like water carving stone. Day by day, it softens his pride. Night by night, it breaks through his defenses, until eventually he feels it so strongly that he cannot ignore it anymore. The silence becomes unbearable, and he is left with only one choice: to return, to speak, to reach out, to beg for the voice he once took for granted. Growth is the light he cannot ignore. When you take your pain and transform it into progress, when you take heartbreak and turn it into strength, something extraordinary happens. You begin to glow differently. This glow is not about makeup, clothes, or appearances. It is deeper. It is the radiance of a soul that chose to rise instead of remain broken. It is the quiet confidence that comes from building yourself in silence. And nothing unsettles a man more than seeing the woman he thought would crumble without him standing taller, stronger, and more beautiful than ever before. Growth is the most powerful revenge. While he expects tears, you give him transformation. While he expects weakness, you give him resilience. And when he looks at you again, he doesn't see the same woman he left behind. He sees a new version, one he cannot recognize but cannot resist either. He begins to question himself. How did she become so strong? How is she smiling without me? Why does she look happier, freer, more alive than when she was with me? Those questions pierce through his pride because deep down he realizes something he never thought he would. He needed you more than you needed him. And that's the beauty of growth. It forces him to confront the truth that he was not your foundation. You built yourself. You rose on your own. You found your peace, your rhythm, your joy without him. And that glow cannot be faked. See, people are drawn to light. They chase after what shines. And when your growth radiates through your presence, through your energy, through your life, He will feel the pull. He will see the difference between who you were when you depended on him and who you are now, independent, unstoppable, and untouchable. And in that moment, the regret intensifies, because nothing haunts a man more than watching the one he let go turn into the very person he always hoped she'd be, only now she no longer needs him to complete the picture. That glow of growth becomes a mirror, forcing him to see the emptiness in his own reflection compared to the power in yours. Sometimes the best way to make someone chase you is to stop chasing them. That is the essence of reverse psychology. When you walk away, when you act as if you don't need him, when you carry yourself as if life is brighter without his presence, suddenly he begins to feel the pull. Human nature craves what it cannot have. The moment something feels out of reach, it becomes valuable, and the same man who once took you for granted begins to wonder, wait, is she slipping away from me? Did I lose her for good? Why does she look so free without me? Reverse psychology works because it shifts the power dynamic. Instead of you proving yourself, he feels the need to prove himself again. Instead of you begging for his attention, he wonders how to earn yours back. Your silence, your growth, your distance, all of it flips the script and makes him question his own choices. Think about it. When you were always available, he felt comfortable, but when you pulled back, suddenly the comfort turned into discomfort. What once felt guaranteed now feels uncertain, and uncertainty breeds desire. He doesn't want to lose you, not because of what you said, but because of what you showed, that you can and will move on without him. And that thought terrifies him, the thought that someone else may notice your glow, someone else may appreciate your worth, someone else may stand where he failed. That fear eats away at his pride, pushing him closer and closer to the very thing he once walked away from, you. This is the paradox. The moment you stop trying to bring him back is the moment he starts trying to come back. The moment you stop running toward him is the moment he begins running toward you. That is reverse psychology. It does the work for you without you having to lift a finger. And eventually, that magnetic pull becomes too strong for him to resist. He realizes that if he doesn't act, if he doesn't step up, if he doesn't return, he may lose you forever. And the thought of losing you forever is something his heart simply cannot bear. Every connection leaves a mark, but some marks are unforgettable. That is the power of the emotional imprint you left on him. See, people can forget faces, voices, even words, but they never forget how someone made them feel. And you made him feel something he will not be able to erase, no matter how hard he tries. It's not about the grand moments, it's the little ones. The way you looked at him when he was tired, the way your laughter filled the room and made the air lighter, the way you listened when the rest of the world was too busy, those imprints linger because they're tied not to the mind but to the heart. He may try to distract himself. He may run into new people, searching for replacements, searching for something familiar. But each time the comparison strikes, each time he realizes, it's not the same, she didn't make me feel the way she did. This is the haunting power of the emotional imprint. You are woven into his memory. Even in your absence, you're present. Even in silence, your energy echoes. And the truth is, no matter how far he runs, he will always return to the feeling that only you gave him. Think about it. Years can pass, but the heart remembers what the mind tries to forget. You became a safe place for him, a space of comfort and peace. And no matter how many people he meets, no matter how many distractions he chases, there will come a moment when something triggers him, a song, a scent, a place, and it will all come rushing back. That rush is not just nostalgia. It is realization, the realization that he had something rare, the realization that he was loved in a way others cannot match, the realization that his soul will always crave the feeling of being with you. And this is what makes him return. Not obligation, not loneliness, but the pull of that emotional imprint. It becomes unbearable to ignore. It becomes a reminder that he let go of someone who made him feel alive in a way no one else could. And when the weight of that truth finally sinks in, pride crumbles, ego dissolves, and he is left with only one choice: to come back, to seek again the comfort of the presence he lost. Mystery is magnetic. What a man cannot fully understand, he cannot fully let go of. And when you step into mystery, when you no longer explain yourself, when you no longer reveal every detail of your heart and mind, something happens. He becomes restless. Before, he may have known your every move. He knew when you would call, when you would forgive, when you would give him another chance. But now, silence, space, unanswered questions. And it is in those unanswered questions that the mystery begins to grow. Mystery makes him wonder, where is she? What is she doing? Who has her attention now? Has she outgrown me? Has she replaced me? These thoughts don't just come once and disappear. They repeat over and over, louder each time until they consume him. Understand this. What is predictable becomes boring. What is uncertain becomes addictive. And when you step into mystery, when you no longer hand over every part of yourself so easily, he begins to crave the answers. He wants to know what you're thinking. He wants to know what you're feeling. He wants to know if there is still space for him in your life. And here's the secret. You don't have to play games. Simply living your life without announcing it, without explaining it, without proving it, creates the mystery all on its own, because he is used to access. He is used to updates. He is used to being the center of your world. But now, when that door is closed, when that access is denied, he begins to feel the loss more sharply. The mystery haunts him. It turns into late-night thoughts. It makes him check his phone, scroll through old pictures, revisit old conversations. He wants clues, but finds none, and that silence, combined with your absence, becomes unbearable. Mystery is the spark that keeps desire alive. It keeps him on edge. It keeps him chasing, because now he is not certain of where he stands. And when a man is uncertain, when he feels he might be losing something rare, he will fight harder to reclaim it. He will fight harder to return. So remember, it is not about hiding who you are. It is about withholding what no longer needs to be given freely. Your mystery is your power, and the more he wonders, the more he craves. The more he craves, the closer he comes back to the very place he once walked away from, you. Every human being has needs, emotional, mental, even spiritual. And when you were there, you fulfilled those needs in ways he didn't even recognize at the time. You gave him comfort when he was restless. You gave him encouragement when he doubted himself. You gave him peace when the world outside was heavy. You didn't just fill space in his life. You filled gaps in his soul. But when he let you go, those needs didn't disappear. They remained, and no matter how much he tries to deny it, no matter how much he distracts himself, those empty spaces grow louder without you there to ease them. He may try to replace you. He may look for someone else to give him that same comfort, that same loyalty, that same depth. But replacement never works. Why? Because what you gave was not surface level. It was woven into his very being. And what is genuine cannot be copied. Think about it. When he is sick, he'll remember how you cared. When he is stressed, he'll remember how your presence calmed him. When he feels lost, he'll remember how you believed in him when no one else did. These are unmet needs because others can't fill them. They don't know him the way you did. They don't love him the way you did. They don't reach him the way you did. And over time, the emptiness grows. He realizes that what he thought was freedom is actually loneliness. What he thought was independence is actually isolation. And no matter how strong his pride is, unmet needs have a way of breaking down even the hardest walls. That's when regret starts to burn. That's when he begins to whisper to himself, "No one understood me the way she did. No one was patient with me like she was. No one made me feel whole except her." And that realization eats at him until he cannot ignore it anymore. Unmet needs turn into longing, longing turns into desire, desire turns into desperation, and desperation is what brings him back, because the truth is simple. What you gave was rare, and he will not find it again. He may search, he may try, but in the end, his heart knows the truth. He lost something he cannot replace. And that truth will force him to return, not casually, not half-heartedly, but with a deep sense of urgency, because those unmet needs are screaming louder than his pride. Respect is the foundation of attraction. Without respect, desire fades. Without respect, love weakens. But when a woman demands respect by the way she carries herself, by the way she refuses to accept less than she deserves, she becomes magnetic. See, respect is not something you beg for. It's something you command through your actions. When you stop tolerating broken promises, when you stop excusing poor behavior, when you refuse to be treated as an option, you send a powerful message. I will not lower my standards for anyone. And that message does not push him away. It pulls him in, because here's the truth: men may not admit it, but they admire strength. They may test boundaries, they may take advantage of kindness, but when they see a woman who values herself, who sets limits, who walks away from disrespect, they cannot ignore it. That strength plants itself in their mind, and they begin to see you differently. Not as someone to use, but as someone to honor. Respect makes him rethink everything. He may have thought you'd always be there, no matter how he acted. But when you draw the line, when you stand tall, when you show him that losing you is the price of disrespect, suddenly, he feels the weight of his choices. Suddenly, he realizes that you are not like the rest. And this is where the magnetism begins, because when you respect yourself, the energy you radiate is undeniable. It says, I am valuable, I am rare, I am not replaceable. And that energy doesn't just make him miss you, it makes him chase you. He starts to compare. He looks at others and realizes, most are easy to sway, most are easy to impress, but you are different. You require more, you require effort, and it is exactly that effort that makes him want you more. Because people do not value what comes cheap. They value what costs them something. Respect is that cost, and when he sees you standing firm in it, when he sees you refusing to bend, his admiration grows. And with admiration comes desire, with desire comes regret. With regret comes the pull to return, this time not just wanting your presence, but prepared to give you the respect he failed to show before. Respect is not just about boundaries, it is about power, and the moment you claimed yours, you became a magnet, pulling him back toward the very place he once left, reminding him that only those who know their worth can truly be loved the way they deserve. Patience is not weakness. Patience is not passivity. Patience is power in its purest form. Because when you are patient, you are in control. Not him, not his decisions, not his timing, you. See, impatience makes people chase, beg, or settle. But patience says, I don't need to rush. I don't need to lower myself. Time is on my side. And that unsettles him more than anything else. Because deep down, he expects you to crack. He expects you to reach out, to fold under the silence, to break under the distance. But when you don't, when you remain calm, steady, and unbothered, that shakes him. Patience forces him to sit with himself. It gives him time to feel the absence, to notice the emptiness, to recognize the void you left behind. Without patience, you would have rushed in, filling that void for him. But with patience, you allow that emptiness to grow so heavy that he cannot carry it anymore. And here's the secret. Time always reveals the truth. In time, his pride will weaken. In time, his distractions will lose their flavor. In time, he will realize that nothing compares to what he lost. But only patience allows that process to unfold naturally. Patience also communicates strength. It tells him, I don't chase because I am worth being chased. I don't beg because I am worth being chosen. I don't rush because what is mine will find its way back to me. And that calm confidence becomes irresistible. Because the person who is patient, the person who can wait, is the person who holds the power. And here's the irony. Your patience makes him impatient. While you remain centered, while you continue to grow and glow, he becomes restless. His thoughts race, his emotions stir, his curiosity burns. He can no longer sit comfortably in the silence, because the longer you wait, the more he wonders if he has already lost his chance forever. That is the true strength of patience. It doesn't just keep you grounded, it pushes him toward action. It transforms his pride into urgency. And eventually that urgency drives him back, not because you chased, but because your patience forced him to realize the truth. He needs you more than you ever needed him. Energy is invisible, yet undeniable. It's the silent language that speaks louder than words, the unseen force that shifts atmospheres, and whether you realize it or not, your energy has always touched him in ways he couldn't explain. When you were around him, your presence carried warmth, peace, and light. You were the calm in his chaos, the balance in his storm. Even when he didn't say it, even when his actions failed to show it, he felt it. He felt the safety of your presence, the reassurance of your loyalty, the stability of your spirit. But here's the truth. When that energy is gone, it is impossible to ignore. He may not have appreciated it when he had it, but now he notices. His days feel heavier, his nights feel colder, and his spirit feels restless. Why? Because the subtle energy you carried is no longer there to anchor him, and this is the power of subtle energy. It's not loud, it's not demanding, it's not forced. It lingers, it leaves traces. It imprints itself onto a person's soul in such a way that when it's absent, the emptiness screams louder than any words. He may not even understand it at first. He may just feel uneasy, irritable, unsettled. But deep down, the reason is simple. He lost the energy that used to make him feel whole. He lost the vibration that lifted him when life weighed him down. He lost the quiet strength that reminded him he was not alone. And here's the thing. Subtle energy cannot be duplicated. He can meet new people, but their energy won't feel the same. He can surround himself with distractions, but none will give him that comfort. He can try to convince himself he's fine, but every quiet moment will remind him. He's missing the presence that once made his world lighter. That realization grows. It gnaws at him. It makes him restless. Until eventually he understands. He doesn't just miss you. He misses the energy you carried, the peace you brought, the way your presence shifted everything around him. And that realization will pull him back, because energy doesn't lie, and no substitute will ever replace the frequency you brought into his life. One of the most powerful forces that drives a man back is fear, the fear of being replaced. At first, he may walk away with confidence, convinced you'll wait, certain you'll remain available. But as time passes and silence grows, a new thought begins to creep in. What if she's moved on? What if someone else has her attention now? What if another man is giving her what I didn't? That thought alone can shatter his pride. Because deep down, he knows your value. He knows the kind of woman you are. And he knows, without a doubt, that another man would be more than happy to step into the place he abandoned. The fear of replacement is powerful because it awakens his possessiveness. It makes him imagine scenarios he cannot bear. Another man making you laugh, another man earning your trust, another man holding the place he once had in your life. And the more he imagines it, the more restless he becomes. This fear is amplified by your silence and your growth. The stronger you look without him, the more confident you appear, the more he begins to believe you might already be slipping away into someone else's arms. And that thought burns, that thought keeps him awake at night. That thought drives him into a panic because he realizes that he doesn't just want you. He doesn't want anyone else to have you. And here's the irony. He may not have valued you fully when you were his, but the idea of losing you to someone else suddenly makes him see your worth more clearly than ever. Because nothing makes a man realize what he had like the fear of watching another man cherish it. This fear eats at him slowly until it grows unbearable. His ego tells him to stay silent, but his heart screams louder. And eventually that fear of replacement pushes him back, not calmly, not casually, but urgently. Because he cannot stomach the idea that someone else might be standing where he once stood, holding what he once held, and loving who he once lost. That is the power of replacement. It forces him to wake up, to admit his mistakes, and to chase what he thought would always be waiting for him. There is nothing more haunting to a man than watching the woman he once knew transform into someone greater without him, because transformation is undeniable. It cannot be hidden, it cannot be faked, it cannot be ignored. When you rise after the pain, when you grow after the heartbreak, when you step into a higher version of yourself, he feels it. He sees it, he cannot escape it. The woman who once needed his reassurance now shines with confidence. The woman who once gave him all of her attention now gives her energy to her growth, her goals, her life. That transformation is a mirror, and in that mirror, he is forced to see the truth, that while you elevated, he stayed the same. Transformation is not about revenge. It's not about proving anything to him. It's about you stepping into your fullest self. But the byproduct of that transformation is powerful. It shakes him to his core, because the woman he thought he could leave behind no longer exists. In her place stands someone stronger, wiser, more radiant, more magnetic. And this is what terrifies him most. He realizes he no longer has access to the same version of you he once knew. That version is gone forever. And now, if he wants a place in your life again, he must rise too. He must change. He must earn what he once took for granted. But here's the beauty. Your transformation doesn't just make him regret. It makes him crave. He craves the new you. He craves the confidence in your walk, the glow in your smile, the freedom in your spirit. He craves the strength you've become, even more than he ever desired the woman he first met. And that craving becomes unbearable, because transformation is magnetic. It pulls him back, it draws him in, and it whispers a painful truth in his heart. She became everything I always wanted, but I lost her before I realized it. That realization doesn't just sting, it burns. And that burn is what drives him to return, desperate to be part of the new chapter he almost missed. Every relationship writes a story. Some stories close neatly with no desire to look back. But then there are the stories that leave pages unwritten, conversations unfinished, emotions unresolved. And those are the chapters that never stop echoing in the mind. What you shared with him was not shallow, it had depth. It had moments that can't simply be erased, memories that cannot simply fade. And because of that, your story with him doesn't feel finished in his heart. Even if he walked away, even if he tried to move forward, there is a part of him that knows. Something between you remains incomplete. The unfinished chapter keeps pulling him back. He replays the last words, the last moments, the last decisions. He wonders, what if I had chosen differently? What if I had stayed? What if I had fought harder? Those questions don't just sit quietly, they grow louder with time. And the more he reflects, the more he realizes that the ending of your story wasn't an ending at all. It was a pause. See, unfinished chapters are powerful because they hold weight. They hold emotions that never found closure, promises that were never fulfilled, and feelings that never truly died. He can try to distract himself. He can try to write new stories with new people. But that unfinished one will keep pulling at him like a loose thread he cannot ignore. And here's the truth. Unfinished business haunts the soul. He may laugh, he may smile, he may pretend to be fine, but deep down, he knows something is left undone with you, and that awareness will not let him rest. It will follow him into his quiet moments. It will whisper to him in the still of the night. It will remind him that the story you two began is not one that he can just walk away from and forget. That haunting feeling is what drives him back. Not because he wants to relive the past, but because he cannot bear the thought of a story left incomplete. His heart knows it, his mind knows it, his soul knows it. The chapter with you still calls to him. And until he returns, until he faces you again, until he tries to write what was left unwritten, he will never find peace. The unfinished chapter is the reason he will circle back. Because love stories that carry depth do not simply end. They demand continuation. And no matter how far he runs, life will always bring him back to the pages he left behind. There comes a moment when all the walls he built around his pride collapse, when the silence becomes too loud, when the regrets become too heavy, when the fear of losing you forever becomes too real. And in that moment, his need for you overrides his ego. That's when he comes back. Not walking, not casually testing the waters, but begging. Begging is not weakness. It's desperation born from realization. He realizes that no matter what he chased, no matter who he entertained, nothing compared to the place he once had with you. He realizes that the laughter he hears from others never echoes the same. He realizes that the comfort, the safety, the peace he felt with you is irreplaceable. And when that realization finally sinks in, it pushes him to do what he never thought he would. Drop his pride and plead for another chance. He will replay the memories, the mistakes, and the words he never said. And each replay cuts deeper. Each memory reminds him of what he threw away, and the deeper the cut, the greater the desperation. That desperation drives him to your doorstep, to your phone, to your presence, with a heart no longer armored but exposed. When he begs, it is not about rehearsed apologies or empty promises. It is about the breaking of his pride. It is about him admitting the truth he tried to deny. I was wrong. I was blind. I cannot live without you. Those words may come out differently, but the weight behind them will be undeniable. And here's the most powerful part. When he comes back begging, it's not because you demanded it. It's not because you chased him. It's not because you lowered yourself. It's because your silence, your growth, your transformation forced him to confront the reality that life without you is emptiness. Begging is the final stage of realization. It is the point where his ego has crumbled, where his defenses are gone, and where he can no longer pretend. He will return, not as the man who left, but as the man who now understands your worth in a way he never did before. And when he does, it will not be calm, it will not be casual, it will not be light. It will be raw, desperate, and undeniable, because the truth that he tried to bury, the truth that haunted him, the truth that chased him down, finally breaks free. You are the one he cannot live without. So hear me clearly. When a man walks away from a woman of true value, he doesn't walk away free. He walks away into a prison of his own regret. He may run, he may hide, he may pretend to be fine, but in the silence of his heart, in the stillness of his nights, he will always hear the echo of what he lost. And that echo will grow louder with time. Louder until it consumes him. Louder until he can no longer carry the weight of his pride. Louder until he has no choice but to return. And when he returns, it will not be casual. It will not be half-hearted. It will be desperate. It will be pleading. It will be begging. Because in the end, there is one unshakable truth. A real woman cannot be replaced. A real bond cannot be forgotten. A real story cannot be left unfinished. And so, with 100% certainty, I say this to you. He will return, he will beg, and when he does, you will finally understand the power you held all along.